Washington football. Woo!
To jump on. Sign me
Hello,
up for the
everybody,
conspiracy podcast.
and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. And Anthony Armstrong is talking about this is a conspiracy podcast, by the way. But
That's right.
I am your host, Kyle. I am joined by my co-host, Michael Reed. Hall is going to be just a couple minutes late, just letting me know. But the title of tonight's episode is The Tiger Test in regards to Washington tomorrow night going against the Cincinnati Bengals Monday Night Football. Looks like some starters are going to play and be able to help us out and being able to break down what's happened over the last week or so. A lot of great news, but also the game tomorrow night, breaking that down and kind of the state of the Commanders is our really good friend of this show, the deep threat himself, Mr. Anthony Armstrong. Thank you for joining us this Sunday, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm in the area. I'm going to be at the game tomorrow. So
Hell
if Terry's not getting signed and they need a guy, I may throw my name in the hat. I mean, I got about
Sign 'em up.
17 plays in 3 games for y'all, baby. That's what I got.
Anthony, they
That's-
might be making that call. I'm
Yeah.
just letting you know. I know that you're still working out and everything, but based off what's been happening, they let go of Michael Strachan. They brought in River Crawcraft, which I said was a ploy to bring Terry McLaurin back because he loves to fish, and it just seems like a fishing type of name, right? But he's 30 years old, and it's just funny that I was commenting on Deuce's live stream that it seems like they do like older players, but as long as they're cheap, it's like we're shopping at Goodwill, right?
Yeah. I mean, but you get the older players, they have something that younger players do not bring to the table right now is experience,
Yes.
right? And when you're getting this close to the season, you don't really have that much time to try to develop or figure. Like you got to be able to go look at the tape and see what this person has done, and think that they're going to bring some sort of contribution to the team. It doesn't replace 17, no. It doesn't replace your top dog, but at least you can throw Craycraft out there, and he should understand what an NFL offense sounds like. He should understand how to operate as a professional. I mean, he's not looking for a big contract. He just wants to be on the squad right now. So you see him take advantage of his opportunities.
Yeah, we'll just call him River Cray Cray just to help everybody out a little bit. But Anthony, tomorrow night, obviously Jaden Daniels. I don't think Tunsil is playing. It doesn't look like Brandon Coleman is going to be out there either. But that being said, based on how the offense has looked, what we've seen from the first preseason game, this being the second, this is such a big stretch between. The media reports is that the offense has kind of been stagnant in training camp. But what are you expecting to see out of the offense tomorrow night, even though it is the second preseason game and they're not getting that many snaps?
I can say I'm looking for just a couple of good drives, right? Just a couple of good drives. If it ends in a touchdown, that's great. That's amazing. But outside of that, just let's see you sustain a drive a little bit. Maybe get to 7 plays, 8 plays, up to 10. If you're going to put a drive together like that, that's going to give you confidence to say, okay, the thing is rolling, the quarterback is looking good, and we can improve when we bring Tunsil back. We can improve when we bring Coleman back. But right now, you just need to see this offense start to have a little bit of continuity, start to click a little bit, because the first one it wasn't it. The training camp games, the training camp practices, it hadn't been too exciting. I mean, that's a lot of familiarity going against the same defense, but it also means a lot when you don't have 17. Like you're not at full force. You know what I mean? You're Thanos and you're missing one of them Infinity Stones. And that's very important to take over this division. So right now, I just want to see continuity. I want to see them show that they're going to be a pretty good offense. They're going to be able to move the ball. Preseason or not, you still look for that as a coach. And then from the stands, I'm going to be watching and just hoping to see an offense that looks like they're ready to battle.
As soon as Terry gets signed, we're making that meme with the final Infinity Stone going into Thanos' wrist. We'll give you credit for it, but
Please, thank you. Tag me.
But Anthony, I did want to ask you, because you being a former player, like for me personally, I'm like kind of disappointed in both sides, the way that this has planned out for Washington, because I've been screaming from the get-go that having the same cohesion that they had last year, because obviously Jaden had to get up to speed with the offense, and that didn't happen until the last drive against the Giants in week 2. Then they really started clicking and going. Like, especially with a harder schedule, they don't have the benefit of gambling the first couple games. And like I've been saying for a while that Terry needs to get out there, but I'm not blaming that on Terry. So, like, from your perspective, you being a former player, like, where does your disappointment lie, if you are, in this entire process? Is it more towards Terry, or is it like team based, or is it like me?
And, I'm honestly, I'm a guy that I'm for the player, right? And I think with Terry McLaurin, he's one of those guys where I think you have to throw away what your normal rules are about, well, the guy's 30 and he's done it. The man's been through so much with this organization. Just as long as y'all have been fans of this organization, there's been times where y'all have probably, maybe not y'all I'm speaking to, but folks listening. There have been points where y'all said, man, I'm getting off this train until a certain ownership group is gone or until we win games. All this other thing. Meanwhile, Terry has sat here. He's been through it. He's been through all the different helmet logos, 12, 13 different quarterbacks, and all he has done is produce. We compare him to Mike Evans, who's had a great career. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. What, 10, 11 straight 1,000-yard season? Terry's done 1,000-yard seasons, but now everybody's like, oh, well, that was not exciting. But when Mike Evans does it, now you're thinking, oh, this dude is the one of the best to ever do it. Terry has been working with bums. No disrespect. He hadn't had anybody throw the rock by throwing the rock. Let's call it what it is. Now you have a young superstar quarterback, and Terry had his best season, especially touchdown wise. And you see his effect on this offense. So all of that makes me go and say, hey man, AP, let's forget what that analytical thing says. You got a guy who's on an upswing right now, and you have a young quarterback. It'd be different if he was the same situation and you didn't have that quarterback position figured out. If you didn't have that figured out and you didn't think that you could actually do something this season, then maybe you try to, hey, we don't want to pay you. We're gonna get. But now I think you just pay the guy, pay him because he means that much to your team. He means that much to your organization. He means that much to the fans. So if I had to give blame, it would be on the team side, but then there's a side where it's like with Terry, I know who he is, like not personally, but he's always come up the backside of the mountain. He's always worked hard. He's
Right.
always been an underdog. And I think the only way he's going to get his contract, unfortunately, is that he's going to have to just show up. He's going to have to show up and do what he's always done. And then as the season rolls along, especially I would love for him to be week one against New York, put up 2 touchdowns, pull the mask over his face, and then say,
Mhm.
show me the money. Show me the money. And then you should go ahead and give him his check. That may be the way he has to do it. Sitting out isn't really helping him. Yes, you get to see that the offense is defunct. The offense is not looking that good. But if he gets back in there and it gets ramped back up, then he's going to have a little more leverage on his side.
Right. And right now, just to change course a little bit, there rumors are swirling like winds in the Meadowlands. Let me put that out there because of one beat reporter who was saying that Brian Robinson might not make this team. He was saying he might be cut. My little brother texted me today. He said, "Is there a chance B Rob really doesn't make the team?" And I said, "Don't listen to that." He was asking me for fantasy purposes. I said, "Just go ahead. You can get B Rob. You can bring him on here." What are your thoughts on that, and where do you think that stems from?
And I think with B Rob, then him not being on the team, that's the excitement about these other young guys. It's the fact that you're seeing what Bill Merritt's been able to do. You're seeing how these young running backs are able to just have some firepower, and we've been missing that big play. If you break it, you need to. We're looking for you to take that sucker 60 to the house, not 60 and then get tackled. But I think this could be helpful for B Rob to focus on just running the ball and run physical behind his pad. When he's best doing that, that's when he's really operating. I think about the game against Atlanta a couple of seasons back. Like he was running angry. But then whenever he has the ball security issues, that's when his playing style kind of slows down. He's not as effective. So I don't think he's going to get cut. I think he once again brings the experience to this team, but I think he's going to be a consistent running threat. I like how McNichols is great in pass pro.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be around for that. But I think B. Rob fits a specific niche in this offense. I don't think he's going to get cut. If he is cut, it's going to be a hell of a surprise. And there's going to be, a lot of question marks. You're going to be like, okay, well, who are you going to now? Right? Because you can't not have B Rob and then also not have 17. Like, what are we doing? What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Yeah, and I
And on
know
top of
that.
that, he brings such a unique skill set. Just like he's young enough to where like he's not. I mean, Eckler obviously has a unique skill set, but he's a little bit older. You got Bill Krosky Merrick, who's younger, he hasn't really proven himself. B Rob, it's like north south guy. He's going to get in there, and he's got a very unique skill set. So I think that bodes well for him. I think that's rubbish talk, as the boys in the UK would say about him getting cut.
Well, I would say that Ben Standig is very smart in what he's doing in engagement farming, given with
He's
like
Lionel.
what?
He's Lionel.
But
Lionel does that.
basically,
Lionel
like
says
that's what he
outlandish
like.
shit
Honestly, dude,
just
like
to
that's
stir the
what he's
pot.
doing. Like even in
Yeah.
his 53 that he wrote, in his projected 53, he had B Rob making the team.
Right. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that's what I mean is like he's smart in that sense. He's trying to get more engagement, and credit to Ben Standig for doing that. But I'd also be willing to argue that Dan Quinn talked about it a lot, where Brian Robinson was that physical presence, and when they didn't have Brian Robinson, that was felt immensely on their end. And so if you add in to say, if we got B Rob and Eckler to start the game to beat you down with Jaden Daniels, you're tired. And then in the second half, we unleash JCM and Bill with that electrifying kind of speed. The defense's head is swirling, around a little bit. And that's just something to look forward to, is that depth at running back is obviously very important to have. But with that being said, Anthony, tomorrow night against Cincinnati, they have their own matchups that they bring with very good talent on their football team. What are some position battles that you're looking forward to seeing how our guys do tomorrow night?
I want to see what the secondary looks like up against the
Yep.
trio of Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Like that
Yep.
law firm there is one of the top in the league. And none of those DBs that we have were on Dan Quinn's list of guys that aren't participating. So this is your premier matchup right now. You're going to get good football from both sides, a good couple, 2, 3 series, I think. I want to see how they stand up. I want to see. I know it's not going to be one of those game plan things where it's like, hey, Marshawn, you just follow Jamar and just, it ain't going to be that serious, but it's good on good. All right, it's good on good. You get to see how Trey Amos is going to stand up against Jamar, against T. Higgins. I want to see those guys ball. The safety position, how are they going to show up? It's really, I said the secondary, but I can really say the whole entire defense going up against a really explosive offense. How do you stand up? How are you going to do these things? And I mean, there's questions. There's too many questions on offense, but right now on defense, I want to see how they show up against a really, really good, really talented offense.
It's a really good one. And you also can't forget about the Ivy League boy in Andre Iosivas, who Kay Adams talked about being a TikTok star, which I'm not on TikTok. I don't ever want to be, in my personal opinion, but apparently he's a
Kyle
star on
is.
it. Reed would know more about that than I would.
Dude, of course, because I'm a social media savant. Kyle's on TikTok, though. Kyle wears a mask and does those arm dances that they all do. I know for a fact he does. I've seen it. I found his profile. So, what?
TikTok is a crazy place.
Yeah, it is. TikTok's odd, man. TikTok is so weird. I don't get it. But what are your thoughts so far on Kane Madrono? I know that everybody we like to talk about Jordan McGee and his potential, but Kane Madrono's come in here and he's played pretty well. Do you think that he can
Kane,
see some serious time?
Kane has been my rookie that I circled coming out of the draft. He played a lot of football. He's uber athletic. I think he's a 4'4" guy. He's long, rangy, and can fit in right now. And you're seeing that because he's smart enough to play it. He's already got his linebacker coach, Ken Norton, is on the staff, and he brings a unique skill set that you can utilize day one because Russell Wilson's going to be running around. Dak Prescott's going to be running around. You may get a little bit of Jalen running around as well. So having a guy like Kay Madrano being able to spy quarterbacks, maybe cover running backs out of the backfield, maybe stick with a tight end or two a little bit longer in some of those cover two zones. I think it's going to help that defense, help unlock some things. So Madrano's been a person that I'm really excited for. I want to see how he performs tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I think he could be utilized a lot like Jahad Campbell is with the Philadelphia Eagles, if anyone saw that, where it's like he could be the replacement for Frankie Luvu in case of injury. I've always said you always got to build your team, whereas you got to feel confident with your backup guy in case every starter goes out. Are you confident at each backup position? And then you're really cooking with gas.
Yeah,
Now,
well, hold on before you go too far. I think what you're gonna get with Kane and how I would see it is that it kind of unlocks Frankie to be that extra rusher, to be a rusher. Maybe you put him
Drop
up
him in
on the
coverage.
edge. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And maybe it's Bobby and Kane. Now you don't have to have Bobby out there as much. You talk about age, he's getting older,
yeah.
right? He doesn't necessarily need to be out there all those downs, right? He's a great leader already. So now you may get a couple three linebacker packages in there, but Frankie's up there getting the rush passer and be causing more havoc. So I think Joe Witt's got a whole bunch of chess pieces that he's getting to move around, and Madrano's one of those really useful ones.
And that's
By the way,
what
real, real
people were
fast.
talking about earlier. But the unfortunate part is that was like what was theorized with Jordan McGee, is that he could
Yeah.
be playing alongside Bobby, allowing Frankie to come down on the
Right.
line. But then Jordan McGee has been out for the past couple weeks. Sorry, Reed.
Oh no, you're good. Can we stop with the Frankie Luvu hate? NFL. He's an 80 in Madden. I saw a list that released the top like 25 linebackers in the NFL. He was number like 19. That's an all pro you're talking about over there. That's a guy who does it all. I just wish that it's just weird to me that the rest of this media people don't see him the way that we do, and apparently the way the voters do during the All Pro. I don't know. It just drives me up a wall. I'll say
You got
that.
to give him some love. I mean, he was voted one of the top five on somebody's list. He was like a top five or top 10 LB. So
Yeah,
we know
yeah,
what the truth
yeah.
is. We know
That's
what
right.
the
That's
truth
how
is.
that's how you know the ball knowers. You say, all right, they got Frankie up there. There we go.
Right. Now, Anthony, who is a player that you think needs to show out tomorrow night against Cincinnati?
Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Luke McCaffrey. You got opportunities where you don't have your top dog, and there's so many different jerseys that you see on these highlights. I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. No disrespect, but there's just so many new people at the receiver position. And I need to see Luke McCaffrey make some noise. You know, you're coming into your second year, and you're getting a few extra reps here and there. So show that you've made that growth, show that you made that jump, and Monday night's the best opportunity to do it. So I'm wanting to see him do some things. Maybe get in the end zone, maybe make a big block, show some physicality, some willingness to get out there and get hit or to give a hit. So that type of thing to show that type of growth, to show that you're really ready to make an impact and be a valuable piece of this offense.
Right. How do you feel about Ben Sinnott? I know a lot has been made of this tight end group. We know Jaden's connection with Zach Ertz, but what do you need to see from some of these backup tight ends? Do you think anybody? We know Bates is going to be in there as a blocking guy, and he's really kind of developed as he can catch some passes low key. But do you think that Ben Sinnott's got this other tight end position on lock, or do you think he needs to be cautious, show some more? What's up?
Yeah, I think he's similar to like a McCaffrey and even McGee. Like I think those draft picks last year, those were developmental guys, right? They're like, okay, we
Right.
we, we like what you got, but we want to see you take this first year and then step your game up to next year. So I'd love to see Ben improve his game. But the tough part about with him is his offense is like more of a three receiver set, but most chances, right? So you got to decide, do you want to go two tight end and play that type of a game because it changes how you go against the defense. If you got, Jalen Lane and these other cats that are really looking good on offense, maybe you don't have to go to that two tight end set. So for Ben, man, it's just you got to make the plays when they show up. You got to show the willingness to block and be able to play without being the tight end, essentially, right? You got to be able to find a way to just make an impact. I want to see that growth, though. I mean, you're behind Zach Ertz, and he's not going to be doing it forever, so you've gotten to learn. But if maybe he can develop something and find, a little niche in this offense. That's one thing about Cliff and this offense is that they want to find out what people can do well and then allow them to do it. You know, they're not looking for anybody to go out there, unless you're a starter, to just play every single play. Like, hey, if you're really good at quick screen, I'm going to work that in 4 or 5 times a game. And then if you're good at these routes, I'm going to work that in 4 or 5 times a game. So Ben's got to find what he's really good at and be consistent with that so they can trust him.
All right, my man. And now to wrap this up, Anthony, I'll have a handful of questions for you, not three, but more than that. But Reed, if you have another one for Anthony, as Hall joins us here, he can also add one in. But I wanted to get your reaction to the Burgundy and Gold game that the coaching staff implemented last week. I thought it was really cool how Dan Quinn and Joe Wick kind of took a step back and allowed the other coaches to kind of dictate what was going on. I know Brian Johnson absolutely dialed things up for the Gold team and being able to dice up that defense with Sam Hartman. What was your reaction to that?
I love to see it because one, it gives the younger coaches a chance to kind of thrive and to show up and show their value. Because if you're a coach in this league, you're not looking to just stay an assistant the entire time. You're trying to grow and get some experience. So being able to have Brian Johnson call those plays, he was already a head coach candidate a few years ago. So, he probably cherished that moment. And then you also get to just let people play football. Let them play football, new play calls, some nuances that maybe Cliff wouldn't call. And you like to see that competition. Splitting it up, changing things up like that can make it fun at practice because you get tired of going against the same cats. But any bit of competition is good. Any bit of competition is good. And I'm a fan of the Burgundy and Gold game. We didn't do it when I was there. I know we had a couple of scrimmages here and there, but to go to that extent to where you truly separating the roster, like that makes it pretty fun, and it gives you a little competitive edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we are joined by Hall. Hall, I know that you haven't been here. We asked some questions already. Do you have anything on the top of your mind you want to ask Anthony?
Um, Being a former receiver, obviously you've gone against some good cornerbacks in the league. What do you think of Trey Amos and what he's been doing so far throughout training camp in the preseason?
Man, I've heard he's been giving people the blues. I've heard he's just been showing up and just continuing to make an impact. He's confident, and long rangey guy like that. who don't know no better. Like those are the ones that you hate going against because they're like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be good or not.
Mm.
I'm just out here trying to ball. I'm excited for him though. You know, he's got some big dogs he's going up against tomorrow night. So whereas it's in the regular season, but they're not gonna take it easy on just because he's a rookie. So I want to see it live and in person, and I'm gonna find it out tomorrow. I like Amos though. I think he gives if he's able to play solid enough ball that you don't have to worry about switching people out again, and that you can just say, okay, CB2 is covered. I think that brings a lot of calm and helps the defense be a little more aggressive than what it could have been or what it would be maybe last year.
Yeah, and now Anthony, because you being a former pro, you kind of know about training camp way more than any of us would, especially Reed. But
That's not true.
um, with Jaden Daniels, like, are you kind of concerned if he doesn't have that many reps in like a preseason game or throughout the preseason?
Not so much. It's the preseason stuff isn't as uh, exotic as what you're going to
Mm.
see in the regular season. Preseason, we get caught up on seeing, a team go 3-0, win all the games, and score all touchdowns. Man, look, I told you earlier, I'm looking to see how you operate, right? I want to see how you operate. Get on and off the field, call the plays, move the offense. I just want to see him do that a couple good times. He's going to show up. I'm not banking on the preseason determining what his season's going to be like. But also, when you don't have everybody out there in front, I really ain't trying to put my Ferrari on the highway. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So let him get out there, rev the engine, but once I see a little bit too much traffic, I'm gonna go ahead and get off and put it in the garage.
My man,
Does what about real fast? What about Terry? Does that because I know Cliff Kingsbury was talking about he needs to see Terry out there. Terry spent last season in this offense, obviously shined, was an All Pro. But what does that mean for him not getting the reps in?
No, that's to say I need him to play. I need him to play. I need him to be out there with his team, period. And that doesn't have to be on the field, like game wise. It just needs to be at least in practice to start to build that continuity. And you have to start to see how the offense is going to run with Terry in it. This ramp up period is important because he's been standing around watching. He's been doing some training and working out, but it's different when you're running routes and you having to
Right.
react to a DB who's doing something that you can't script. So that him getting the reps at practice is going to be more important. Sure, preseason game, whatever, but I just need to see him get out there because you can control where the ball goes and practice a little bit more. And you just need to see how this offense is going to roll because if you get out there and you're like, yeah, he ain't ready yet, then offensively, you got to start to move some pieces around and come up with another plan. And that's why Cliff is saying we need to know what he's going to look like. We need to have him out there to get him on the field to see what this offense looks like in full force. But until then, it's just going to be a whole bunch of question marks.
Now, Anthony, I know that you kind of already talked about Kane Madrono, but I have a feeling you're going to change your answer when I ask you this. The rookie spotlight. Who are you most excited to see tomorrow night against the Bengals?
Well, yeah, Kane was the defensive guy. On offense, I want to see Jalen Lane. See if he gets maybe some special teams action. Just want to see the speed in person. You've heard about him being able to get behind the DBs and stretch the defenses. So I want to see it in person, right? I want to see it in person, just to be able to feel the speed and feel what type of impact he's going to have on the field. And then the other one is Krosky Merritt. He's got Twitter in a tizzy. He's got people trying to change their name to Bill and all of that. So we'll see what he does, man. But the crazy thing though, I look at all these videos, these guys coming off the field, and I'm like, they are so young. It's crazy that they're so young. And I'm like, that was me. I saw a video myself. I'm like, so freaking young
Little baby
going out there
Anthony.
doing this
What is
thing, man.
that?
So
Yeah.
I'm just as excited to see these young guys live their dreams, man. Like they've been hoping and praying for this moment. Now you just gotta take advantage of it. So Krosky, Merritt, Bill, want to see you ball, man.
Yeah.
Jalen Lane want to see you ball.
As soon as I realized that there are some players in this league legitimately who have never lived in a pre 9/11 world, I was like, oh my god, damn, that's crazy. Like there's people in there who don't know what anything was like. It's
Yeah,
like holy shit,
yeah.
nuts. I don't know, it's just weird. I'm 35 yelling at some 22-year-old. I'm like, come on. I'm just,
Yeah, slowly but surely, every single day, I'm turning more and more into Red Foreman.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Who?
Yeah.
The last question I have for you, Anthony, of the injured guys that haven't been getting a lot of snaps, who were you most concerned about?
Ooh, I guess who hadn't been getting the snaps? I mean, I know
Mariota,
Coleman,
Jordan
Mariota,
McGee, Brandon
Coleman.
Coleman.
Coleman would be mine. Um, Offensive line is y'all got to talk and y'all got to be up there together to be able to dish out what type of protections and how y'all going to help each other out. So Coleman would be the biggest one, but I don't. I think he's going to be okay. I think he'll be okay, but I would love for him to be out there on the field just to get a little more rep.
My man.
Yeah.
Last one, I promise. But the uniform reveal, I don't think we ever got to ask you about it. Obviously, going back to your Redskins days, that it seemed probably something that you enjoyed.
I was hyped for it. I was hyped for it. The only part that didn't seem right was there wasn't no 17. You know what I mean? That was the only thing that had me. I was like, I love seeing Frankie and everybody else. Like I'm cool. I'm cool with the jersey. I love the yellow. I love the pants and everything like that. But that jersey that's to your side, not the Sean Taylor one, but that other one, it just doesn't seem right until you have that one in there, his jersey involved in it. So just as excited as I am, I gotta wait. There's other pressing issues that we gotta take care of first and foremost.
I will say that that quarterback number 5 in that design, it's so much better than having McNabb on the back of the jersey or Brennan like Cole Brennan. Like it just Daniels. It's like all right, we got our 5. He's good.
Got
We
your
get it.
5.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anthony, before you get out of here, it's like to plug your social media handle and your show, brother, just in case anyone watching wants to come follow.
Appreciate it, man. Y'all check out I Believe Commanders. Well, it's not at Believe. Anyways, Believe Commanders is the show. All your favorite streaming platforms. Check it out on the Believe Network. And then follow me at Rated Armstrong. It's everywhere. Cash App too. So feel free to drop a couple dollars in there for your boy.
My man, enjoy your Sunday,
And he
brother, and
dropped
enjoy
his
the
Cash App.
and
That's
and
wild. I don't
enjoy
think anybody's ever done that.
and enjoy the game tomorrow
Smart.
night. Going back home. Obviously, I hope you have a great time. Enjoy yourself and safe travels back home, brother.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all be
Thanks,
good.
Anthony.
See ya.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Anthony Armstrong. Always appreciate his
Genius.
time. But look,
Yeah.
we got somebody else here, Mr. Reed, popping up. Now,
Kyle, I'm like the wind dude. I just go wherever. Sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm not. It doesn't really matter. I'm Terry McLaurin right now. I'm holding out for a new contract.
yeah, I
I'm
know
just here because I gotta be.
the rumors that he was holding out until Dan Snyder buys back the team. Obviously, he really wanted
Yeah.
the Redskins name to come back. Obviously, his
Yeah,
holdout is no
dude.
longer existent.
I remember when we first started, like when we were our first like year of podcasting. I remember us talking about Dan Snyder and on the team, and we are like, I mean, I guess the one benefit is like he's never going to change the name, and like we're like, that's cool. We're going to be the Redskins forever. He changed the name. We're like, all right, well, that's kind of fucking defeats the purpose of Dan Snyder. And
Right.
then,
That
then he
just
sold it. We're
completely
like,
went
all
out the window. Like that was the one
right,
that
all
did it,
right,
right? And not
never
only was
mind.
he going to change it, he was going to pick something that literally, like, everyone was going to be like, "What?" You know,
Yeah, he should have just chose Indians.
he should have. Now let's get into some fan questions, boys, to wrap this episode. This one by the Colonel. Hall, I'll go to you first. He asks, even if Terry is on board this week, Kyle's observations of a questionable wide receiver room, end quote, are worth noting. Besides Zach, Debo, and Terry, anyone else stepping up?
Yeah, hopefully Noah Brown, he can get back on the field at some point, and he's like a solid, like pretty solid number 2. I think he like led the league in like pass interference yards, or he was top 2 or
Yes.
3, like something like that last year.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a guy that, while now he might not have the most catches, he's a chain mover just because of like the penalty yards and how physical that he plays. Obviously, he's a good blocker in the run game as well. So he's a guy that's gonna have to step up. And like Anthony said, I think everyone's just kind of just waiting and kind of wants to see Jalen Lane get on the field, take a 9 route deep down the field, and catch like a bomb from Jaden Daniels or whoever the quarterback may be. So those are just 2 guys out of the receiver room I would say need to step up.
Yeah, and I think Jalen Lane, especially in this game against Cincy, would really benefit from working with Jaden because we kind of saw Sam Hartman didn't get into the rhythm of things until the no huddle happened in the third series, and then he kind
Yeah,
of looked
don't be tough on him.
back to
He's
normal,
so hot.
right? So, like, I would like to
Yeah.
see Jalen Lane operating as the Terry McLaurin with those kind of screen plays, a short yardage, and then also expanding, stretching the field a little bit as he gets massaged into the game plan. But I think that would be something to really showcase what we have in Jalen Lane. But I think that he himself needs to step up a little bit. He needs to force himself into the lineup a lot like Luke McCaffrey, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And everyone's been talking about Luke a lot, Colonel. And so far, we haven't seen much from him. We don't know if they're withholding him because he got pulled out of the game against the Patriots for a sickness. But we need to see more out of Luke. This was supposed to be the coming out party, and so he's definitely the candidate that needs to have a good game, not only against Cincy, but honestly this year. He was open a lot last year, but for some reason he wasn't throwing the football. And I think that confidence needs to be built with his quarterback, and this preseason game is one where you can honestly do that without having Terry by your side.
Yeah, and you guys all mentioned some pretty big people, obviously Luke and Jalen, but I'm just going to go with somebody who I'm excited to see more of, and that's Ja'Cory Brooks,
Yeah.
just because he was such a big. He played well last week against the Patriots. He's been the talk of camp. I mean, he goes in there. He's a former 5-star recruit, went to Alabama, had to transfer obviously because the numbers game ended up. But he does. The crazy thing is, like, he was a 5-star recruit, but his workout numbers weren't the best, and but he still got the size and all that. So he still has the talent. So he's somebody who you just like to see, like, go in there, earn a roster spot, just dominate against some of these lower level guys, just prove that you deserve to be on this team, because he's got a skill set that not a lot of guys on this team have with his size.
Yeah, that's definitely another guy that if Cincinnati has their defensive starters out there, could really plant that flag. Because obviously, I talked to Logan a couple weeks ago, and he said that these other guys weren't really like, they would have big catches, but the consistency of being able to catch the football was a big issue for him. And so this is a game where I was saying maybe Ja'Cory Brooks is like one of those guys that is a big time game. He shows up on game days and balls out, but practice maybe not as consistent, but it just needs to be under the lights, on the green grass, under the pylons to be able to perform at a high level. Maybe Ja'Cory Brooks is that type of guy, and tomorrow night is obviously a huge indicator for him.
Consistency catching the football, that's rich coming from Logan.
Stupid. Now the next question from the Colonel Reed. Ryan Kerrigan said this week Javon Kinlaw will be an all-pro if he refines his technique this season. Is Kinlaw the direct replacement for John Allen, or are we using more of a defensive rotation scheme now?
I think he's going to be used in a scheme. Like, you can scheme hit Javon Kinlaw up in so many different ways, just with his athleticism and his size. He could be a pure nose tackle if you need him to be. You can drop down. You can put him on the edge in certain formations. I mean, really, if you need, not Ed, but as a defensive end in certain formations. He's somebody that I think that you really. There's a reason that they signed him, and there's a reason why they didn't have any issue. I know a lot of fans were like, "We signed him for how much? For how long?" They didn't think twice about it. And those guys, I would take their advice after what they did last year, signing some guys. So I think that they know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. I think Joe Witt, he's excited about him. Obviously, Ryan Kerrigan knows what he sees with defensive linemen. So I think that Javon Kinlaw is not necessarily going to be a replacement for Jonathan Allen. I mean, he is in the sense that he's going to be, that number 2 guy right there next to Daron Payne, but he's somebody you can just move all over that defensive line and feel confident that he's going to go out there and do his job.
Yeah, Javon Kinlaw is definitely the type of guy you want walking first off the bus
Dude,
to an
he's
away game.
Crazy looking. He's so scary.
Yeah, it's almost
that guy
like,
could do anything he wanted to, Kyle. Anything.
What was that guy's name? Was it Sean Oakman from Baylor?
Yeah, Sean Oakman from Baylor.
Like, he's almost like that in a way, where it's like
that guy.
Let him be the first one to walk off the bus to kind of show everybody
like
who's coming to
with
town.
A 6-pack. Yeah.
I don't think he's a direct replacement to Javon Kinlaw, but I did think it was important that Joe Witt talked about the Patriots preseason game, and that the guys that were lower on the depth chart weren't having the gap integrity and doing what they needed to in the run game, where they shouldn't have allowed that. But what he did say is during this joint scrimmage, when they had the starters out there, those runs weren't happening. And so I think that's a big indicator of what Javon Kinlaw kind of brings, and the stability on the defensive line and being able to control things a little bit more just by his mass and his size, right? And so I think that anytime we talk to a DC or any defensive coach, they want a deep rotation. And I think regardless, that's where we're going to be getting this season. Like, I talked about having the AK-47 package, where I heard some media reporters talking about a pressure package with Frankie Luvu on the line, Von Miller on the other side. Then it was Daron Payne and Dorrance Armstrong in the middle. Just having different combinations of things. And Javon Kinlaw obviously is somebody that you could just add in there to switch a Daron Payne if you really truly wanted to, just based on his size and his ability as a pass rusher to really be productive, being able to get after the quarterback. I just think that deep rotation is what they're really banking on.
Real fast, Hall will probably appreciate this. AK-47 is the most underrated NBA nickname of all time. Andre Carolino. It was such a good nickname for him. Yeah.
Utah Jazz, back when last time they were actually relevant. Yeah, like you guys said it. I think he's going to be part of the rotation. I think that, he's even talked about how, he's not a defensive tackle. He's not a defensive end. He's just a defensive lineman. They're going to have him up and down all over the line. Yeah, Jeremy Reeves even talked about like his explosion coming off the ball. I saw a clip the other day where he was practicing like coming off the ball, his explosion. It looked like he was about to snap Eddie Goldman's neck when he hit him so hard. I was like, good God.
Yeah.
So, and Eddie Goldman's a huge dude too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think he's going to be used like that. And Grant Paulson had like a pretty good analogy. He was like, this defensive line is kind of gonna probably be like a pitching rotation where everybody kind of has their roles. Like he's the seventh inning closer, he's the eighth inning guy, he's the ninth inning guy. So everyone's gonna have their different roles within the line, and he's gonna be used like all throughout the line in different packages, like you talked about. So I know a lot of people, like you said, were down on him, but I'm actually excited to see what he brings because, like Reed said, how can you doubt? Like obviously you can't just like put thumbs up to every move that they make. But as of up to now to this point, they've seemed like they've made all the right moves going back to last season. So hopefully, he's always had the potential. Hopefully, he just like puts it all together and plays consistently for this defense.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Him and Laramie Tunsil have like the exact same bodies, where like they both could literally be linebackers, but if they were just like a little small. It's
Yeah.
just Laramie Tunsil dresses a little more light in the loafers, if you know what I'm saying. He's a little more sweet. He's got a little more zest to him.
You're gonna
You
end up
guys,
on his next Instagram
I was just
reel.
gonna
oh
say,
yeah, right. But I
yeah.
won't bend the knee like Lionel did. I will say I'll actually I will. I'll get on both of them, dude. I'll say it.
um, Now let's go to our next question from the Colonel. Hall, which of our other two NFC East divisional foes, the Cowboys and Giants, pose the biggest threat divisionally?
um, I'll say the Cowboys only because this is like it's still an offensive league. Like, yes, I know the Giants' defense is supposedly going to be good. Their defensive line is going to be pretty scary with a bunch of like potential Pro Bowlers all across the line on that defensive line. But you still need to score points in this league, and I don't know if their offense is going to be able to put up as many points as needed to win games. Even if the defense does hold teams to like 17, 20 points, I don't know if the Giants are going to be able to score 17 to 20 points. And Malik Neighbors is hurt right now, so we'll see what happens with that. But and their offensive line is kind of still shaky. So we'll see what happens with that. But CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, we'll see what happens with the running game in Dallas. And one thing we know about Dak Prescott, he might not be like a clutch like playoff quarterback, but he puts up pretty good, decent regular season numbers year in and year out when he's healthy. So I think he's going to have that offense moving up and down the field. They're going to score points. It's just about can their defense stop other teams. So I think the Cowboys are more of a threat to us.
Yeah, I know the Giants, they played yesterday against the Jets, and there was a play there where Abdul Carter gets chipped from the tight end onto his
Yeah.
butt. Then
Yeah.
the right tackle hits him again onto his butt. And he actually tweeted out on Twitter last night, he's like, I ate that like barbecue. Like, maybe you should just sit this out. You don't need to respond to
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you didn't eat, they
That
ate you
clearly
like
bothered
barbecue.
him.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, that's one of those where it's like, probably just sit that one out. But honestly, there was one play from Russell Wilson, that deep ball to Reed's
Bo
boy,
Collins.
Bo Collins. I put this out on Twitter. That's a 4-man rush going against a 7-man protection from New York. And look, I understand that might just be what their offense is bringing you, but I think that 7-man protection says a lot about what they are looking at offensive line wise. To Hall's point about the protection, because I've said for a while I think that they go as far as our offensive line does, and if they're against a 4-man rush having to use 7-man protection, I think that might be an indicator. And so, if anything, I'll say it's most likely Dallas, because I know that we're all looking at Dallas in a weird kind of sense because their injuries last season, we kind of writing them off. But with adding of George Pickens, what they had defensively, including Micah, drafting Donovan Ezuriku, like I think that they have very good weapons that they can utilize. And so that is a concern, because I think that while the NFC East could very well be the NFC North this season, whereas we're having 3 possible teams in the playoff picture, and we don't have much wiggle room to lose games. And that's why I've been pressing on Terry getting signed, because we cannot gamble on games. And
Yeah.
having him go in disgruntled is not a good recipe.
And also, I hate to say it, but Dallas probably had my favorite draft. Like just overall, like if I'm being honest with Ezeriku, they got Siobhan Ravel, that corner from Coastal Carolina or from ECU. That was really he was good, and then he tore his ACL. Once he gets healthy, that's just going to be another body back there. He could have been a first rounder, but look, Dallas is only a year removed from being a good team. Like teams have down years, they could come back. I could easily see them being a solid team again. But you know what? I'm going to switch things up a little bit here. I'm going to go with the New York Football Giants just because it's fun to talk about right now. They got that dominant defensive line that you guys talked about. Look, give Russell Wilson 2, 3 weeks. He doesn't pan out, you put that boy with the best name for a quarterback, honestly, in a long time, Jackson Dart, out there, and who's been playing well. I mean, granted, it hasn't been against him, but he's played pretty well, and that just has like the makings of like a young team that ends up surprising. He's got Malik Neighbors over there, you know what I'm saying? And like I could just see that end up being like a good thing for the Giants, and they finish middle of the pack. Now that I'm done sucking off New York, no, New York should not be that good, but I just like hyping them up because I like the way that they're building right now.
Yeah, they also drafted Marcus Imbo, who pancaked a
Yeah,
good bit of guys in
yeah,
against New York.
yeah.
Now, the next question that we have submitted, I'll say that it was Philly. Philly getting my favorite safety prospect in Andrew Makuba.
Yeah,
And he,
they just traded for fucking what's his face
I
too.
know.
What
yeah,
receiver from the
Jonathan
John
Texans?
Mechie.
Mechie.
Jonathan Mechie.
Yeah, I know.
No, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
how this man Howie Roseman just keeps pulling. I mean,
Howie is Israel. He's
it's
got
not even
tapes
like
of all these
Mechie is like
all
a
these
star player.
teams. He's using him as blackmail. He gets a new comment like that one.
Man, it's not even like Mechie's a star player. He's just another piece and another deep threat weapon for that
You
offense,
know,
which they don't even need more weapons.
I
But here
know.
we are.
But it's
Yep.
like the high upside of him, Jahan Dotson. You still, I'm say what you want about Jahan. He still has upside. I mean, he's still talented. He won't do anything, but like,
What is John Mechie gonna do on the tush push? You know what I mean?
yeah,
Now
that's true.
let's go to
Yeah.
the next question. Reed, this is from our boy Tony Franchise on Twitter. This question is going into the second preseason game. What position battles are you looking at?
Mm. Obviously, I'm super pumped to see running back. I think a lot of people are just with all the speculation out there. I mean, just obviously, I mean, Bill Krosky Merritt setting the Commanders' Twitter on fire, and then the stuff about B Rob, and then I mean, obviously, you got Eckler, you got all these guys in there. I'm just excited to see kind of who takes things out because we saw some flashes. We saw some very good things from Krosky Merritt this past or last game, and you just saw kind of what makes people excited about him: the slipperiness, the lateral movement, him just getting forward and picking up yards and finding holes when there's not necessarily one. So I'm excited to see that. Honestly, and I think that's kind of a stale answer because everybody's excited to see Bill, but that's really who I'm most pumped on right now.
Yeah, I think the corners, the secondary going against that wide receiver unit is the obvious and easy answer to this question. But I also think our defensive line and linebackers, especially in this game, obviously they have Chase Brown who performed well for them last season. Don't know if he's strapping up and ready to play tomorrow night, but that's another one because Kane Madrono showed flashes in the run game. Obviously, he was like the inverse to what Dom Hampton was showing, which he ultimately got released. But I think that I want to see that step up from Kane Madrono. Obviously, Bobby Wagner is not playing in this game. Neither is Jordan McGee. So I think Kane Madrono, this is a big opportunity for him to show his progress because coming out of the draft, the one thing that you pointed out was the open field tackling wasn't very good, but he was a very good rusher, solid in coverage. It was much more so just the tackling, and if Ken Norton really got to him, able to tackle very well, I think this could be a very good piece for this defense. So a big opportunity for Kane Madrono and the linebackers tomorrow night.
I want to see who's going to be QB1. It's going to be a nice battle there.
There you
Now,
go.
I would say
Sam Hartman.
the safety position, just because obviously we know Quan Martin is going to be a staple in the backfield on the back end for the safety position, but it seems like All Pro Revo's been pushing Will Harris and for more playing time. And Joe Witt talked about how Revo's just been like took it to a whole other level this year. He's definitely going to push himself to get on the field this year, get some more defensive snaps. So I would say the safety position, even though I do think because they brought Will Harrison in free agency that more than likely he'll be the day one starter, if you want to call him. But I could definitely see halfway through the season or midway through the season at some point, Revo's out there with the first team, getting the first team snaps on after the kickoff. So, yeah, the safety position is what I want to.
Yeah, even if you want to implement a three safety kind of set, you could
Yeah,
bring Revos in for that, right? Take a linebacker off, or
yeah.
you probably don't want to take a DB off just because if they are performing at the level that they are, you don't want to take that away from you. But it's always an option for you if somebody's going empty. Um,
How how sick of a story is that though? Revo just working his way up to the point where he's like becoming undeniable. Where Joe Witt's like, yeah, we got to find ways to get him on the field more on defense. Like, good for him, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now the next question, Reed. This is from our boy Command D's Nuts. Thank you, Mike. What do y'all feel is absolutely necessary to see after that cluster F of a performance the reserve showed in New England in the first game?
Just more sharpness. It's going to be interesting to see what the first team offense can go out there and do because obviously that Greek god Sam Hartman, he's something to look at, but he's not much to watch play football. You know what I'm saying? So that was tough. They just never got it. Just never felt like a real game with them. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it was just out of sync. So you want to see a little bit more sharpness. Go ahead, Kyle.
It
I don't even
definitely
think about
seemed
saying.
like the team put more stock in the joint practice than they did the preseason
Right.
game.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
like the inverse with New England, where it seemed like they really wanted to make a point
And
with that
they
preseason
had
game.
to. New England's trying to rebuild a culture. Mike Vrabel, they're
Yeah.
they're trying to. They're us last year. They had to come out there. They got to kind of reset the standard, set the tone, and where we kind of found that last year, it's like New England is out there. They're trying to prove a point. These young guys are trying to set the tone for their team, who their team's going to be, and so I get it. I mean, but it still sucks to watch. You want to see them be a little bit more crisp.
Yeah, and for me, Mike, I think it's the run defense. Obviously, the reserves got eaten alive on the ground last week. Gap integrity was terrible, especially on that Drake May touchdown run. That sort of thing, that's what needs to get cleaned up this week is that gap integrity, staying in your lanes and your responsibilities, not getting pushed around, and just maintaining your ground, basically, and creating that wall and forcing. Because Joe Burrow, he will dice you up. But he will take those yards if necessary, and he'll easily do that to you. So making sure that all the way down the depth chart that the DTs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, because we talked about that DT rotation and giving with what was our weakness on defense last year and run defense, want to make sure all the way down the roster that is able to be something that you can be confident in that has changed.
I would say I want to see the special teams. I want to see them actually tackle
Woo!
somebody on kickoff, and I want to see Matt Gay if he gets the opportunity to go out there, drill a 40-plus yard field goal if he needs to, drill a 30-plus yard field goal if he needs to.
Reed's boy.
I just
Oh
want to
yeah,
see the
dude.
special teams from kickoff return, punting,
Hell
field goal
yeah.
unit, all that stuff. I just want to see crisp, and I want to see flawless execution from both of those, especially on the kickoff because you can't have Trevion Henderson running back the opening kickoff.
Yeah.
My guy AG taking like another big kickoff against us in that game. So the special teams units got to come out and definitely play a lot more crisp than they did in game one.
To be fair, Matt Gay, I like Matt Gay because like he first of all his last name obviously rules. It kind of gives you like the opportunity, like if somebody does something similar to him, like let's say misses a field goal, you can say, "Oh my God, that was so gay," and then people be like, "You can't say that anymore." Be like, "No, no, I'm saying like he did a very good impression of Matt Gay right there." I thought that was pretty cool.
Breaking the
He did
barriers.
miss out on a big opportunity though. If he was number 69, yeah, come on, walking around with a jersey saying "gay
That is
69" on
true.
it,
That is
like
true.
Kyle's favorite hobby, you'd be like,
He would
"Yes,
legitimately be a Hall of Famer just based
yeah,
off of that.
yeah."
Now the next
You don't
question.
like that one, Kyle?
This one
Oh,
was
you of all
submitted by
people.
Deluxe in the Discord hall. Go to you
Now,
first.
cock got your tongue.
He said, he said, in my opinion, the agent is official failing now. It's his job to do what's best for his client. Each additional day at this point in time without a deal is hurting more than helping his client. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, I do agree, yes, that, and I know like this has been the big topic of discussion since day one of this whole hold out, hold in, whatever you want to call it thing, that the agent, and I get it because everyone loves Terry. No one wants to be mad and like angry at Terry, and at the end of the day, Terry is his boss. So like Terry could easily just say, hey, what's the best deal that they're offering? Let's take it. We can end this at any point in time. But I will say this when guys like Mike Jones, who's like a national reporter, when a guy like Logan Paulson, who obviously works for the team, played in the league, comes out and says that he might be getting bad information from his representation, that kind of holds a little bit more weight than just like fans on Twitter screaming about Buddy Baker. Bah! So I will say that as of right now, it seems like Buddy Baker's kind of dangling Terry out there as like his big fish for like his big payday because as everyone knows already, that's his biggest client up to this point. So yeah, I would say that while Buddy Baker probably has a big percentage of the blame, I would say some of it does have to go on Terry because at the end of the day, Buddy Baker works for Terry.
And I'd be willing to argue, like, we have no idea what has been offered, what is being requested. I would love to push the blame on Buddy Baker just based on his stature alone. It's very funny. I get it. Uh, but at the end of the day, when a player like this stands out and with 13 touchdowns sets a franchise record, this is typically how successful teams operate. They have a player that holds out that wants more money, right? And I'm not going to sit here and put the blame on Terry or his agent to say it needs to get done. I think Terry does deserve a raise, not because of what he's done in the past, but specifically what he did with Jaden and what the future entails. I'm not going to say put him at 35, 40 million per year and possibly put you in a bad situation 2 to 3 years. All I'm saying is both sides need to meet in the middle. So I think the disappointment and the blame needs to go on both parties in this regard. Just meet in the middle. I'm not sure if Buddy Baker is holding tight on to his number. I'm not sure if Adam Peters' company is holding tight on their number. I think Terry deserves a raise, and that's just my personal opinion. And with my background in construction, I know that if there's a big job coming up and you need a certain person on that's requesting a raise and operations doesn't want to give it to them, and if they're not going to be on that job, ownership's going to come down and say, I need him on that job. Nobody else can do it. The payout at the end of that job is greater than what we'll pay in the raise. So just get him the raise so we can get paid out as a company. Please do that. And I know that that's not going to fall on the actual worker. And that's where I think my head kind of lays with it. As much as I want to point blame on them, we have no idea what is really going on behind the scenes. We can act like it all day long, but we have no idea. I just am disappointed in both parties that it hasn't been done at this point because of the reason that we don't have any time to gamble this season. Hard schedule. NFC East is building back up. You got to make sure that you're putting all your ducks in a row, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and making sure that everyone's hitting the ground running. And as much as everyone likes to point that Cliff Kingsbury kind of pushed Terry to end his pup, I'd be willing to say that wasn't like a Terry thing. I think that was a front office thing.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't disagree with that. The other thing, it's like, Buddy Baker, are you taking on too much? Don't you have to go play safety for the Cardinals? What are you doing right now? Why are you getting involved in agent stuff?
Now, the next question, Reed. This is by Deluxe. I've avoided Terry questions all offseason. Does he sign by Wednesday morning, or does it stretch out closer to week 1?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it stretches out longer to week 1. But you know what? Let's go with I'm a glass half full kind of gal. Let's say he's going to sign by Wednesday, and everything's going to be cool, baby.
Yeah, I'm with you. I honestly, I thought that it was going to be happening by the start of training camp. So obviously I was wrong about that. That's why I've just been so disappointed. I thought that we were all on the same page in the sense of what needs to get done. And it seems like now everyone's on the same page of what needs to get done. So I have no idea. I just hope that Terry's happy, the team is happy, and we're ready to kick ass week 1. I don't want a disgruntled employee being forced out onto the field and not giving everything that he could possibly be doing if he had that raise that he's requesting. And I'm not saying the 35 or whatever, just make sure he's happy, make sure both sides are happy, and that's probably the hardest part of this whole scenario.
I think that it goes even past week 1. I don't think either sides are going to move off of their number and try to meet in the middle or anything like that. So I think that they somehow, some way convert some type of money into like some more guaranteed money from this year. He plays his last year of his deal out for like, what is he making, like 25 mil or something like this
23.
year? 23. So somehow they convert some type of money and like give him a little bit more guaranteed money up front, and he'll play for like 25, 27, whatever it may be this year. And we'll be right back doing this dance again next year in 2026.
And then we're going to say franchise tag. And
Yes,
then the next year we're going to say franchise tag.
And this is
by
what
that
I've
point, Terry's going to be like 33.
And the whole like disgruntled employee thing, like, yeah, well, I do think he'll be disgruntled. And people are making a whole thing about like, oh, he's messing up the vibes and da-da-da-da, and he's mad and frustrated. At the end of the day, he can be mad at AP all he wants because he's in the front office. As long as he's not holding something like against the coaching staff, which obviously the coaching staff
I don't think so at all.
Yeah,
coaching staff has nothing to do with
dude.
negotiations.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, Dan Quinn, Bobby Ingram, the coaching staff, Joe Witten, those guys, Cliff, I don't think he has any type of like frustration or like anything against them. Like, so I'm saying, so it's all front office stuff. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to mess up like the locker room vibes or like the vibes on the field, because that's all front office stuff. It has nothing to do like with the locker room and all on the field. So
no, you're absolutely right. Like I view it kind of like our gene is like the front, like the coaching staff type of aspect,
Right.
where like it's not really mad at them, right? But if he were to get nicked up, would he continue to go out there and do everything possible to go out and play?
that is
right?
true. And then that's when maybe it starts starting to get a little
Exactly.
rocky. But yeah.
And that's when he starts looking for the future to say, well, I'm not going to possibly injure myself severely to lose more time, because that's going to possibly ruin my chances at getting a contract next season. And you could franchise tag me, but the franchise tag is what you probably should be offering. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
That's why I don't think they're going to meet in the middle, because at the end of the day, they could easily jump up to $28 million.
Yeah,
Like the team can. They can, but at the end
We
of the
see
day, is
teams
Terry
make
going to come
salary
off of
cap
his
stuff work
number,
all the
and is
time.
Terry
Yeah.
going to accept that? That's the problem right now. It's like
exactly.
I feel like Terry's just like so prideful and just like, no, I feel like I deserve this, and this is what I
And
value myself at. So I'm not going to play for anything
yeah,
less.
it
That's why I
sucks
think it
too.
drags out
Yeah,
even
it
longer.
sucks too because Terry is right. I mean, like he does deserve to be paid. He's just coming off an all-pro season. Look at what he's been through. I know that they're saying that they're not basing stuff off the past, but like Terry's never been a headache. He does deserve it, but at the same time, you also see where AP's coming from. He's like, I can't mortgage our future on something like with that's that much money when he's getting older, and it's like I get that too. So it's just one of those things where it's like
I think they're
mom
also
spilled the spaghetti at the dinner table and dad hit her. It's like, yeah, mom was wrong for doing that. Dad's also wrong for striking her, but at the same time, it's like I see both sides.
I feel like also they're looking at it like he basically put up the same numbers he's had his whole career except for the touchdowns. He had the same amount
Yeah,
of catches, basically the same amount of yards, and I think they're looking at it
that's true.
like
Yeah.
there's going to be some type of like regression to the means where like he's not going to have 13 touchdowns again,
He's not going to
but
be
he's not
open
going to have
deep
4, so it'll be
at
somewhere in
some
the
point.
middle.
Yeah.
So I also think that's kind of the holdup where they're like, yeah, you did have a bomb year, but like it was really only your touchdowns that went up. Everything else was kind of the same.
yeah. The consistency is what you want,
Yeah, of
especially
course, of course,
with an
of course.
injury-plagued wide receiver room. Not sure if it's a good time to be playing chicken with your one consistent wide
Oh,
receiver.
100%. I think, like I said, they should have been offered in 28 when they were talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
23 and 25 or whatever they're offering. That's why I was like, all right, that's a little low. But like the 28, 29 range, like if Terry's not okay with that, then it kind of goes on Terry at this
And
point.
Deluxe is like
Yeah.
really good with these contracts and breaking them down. And he basically said that DK contract is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
really in the
We're never going to get
30s.
to the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even in the 30s really. It's like 1 year is. Everything else is around that 28. And so what I was saying is, okay, then copy and paste that contract, just add $1 to it, and see if he enjoys it. Because that's what I think the ultimate thing is just having that one up, right? Apparently that's the thing with players, just being,
Yeah.
and that's the unfortunate part because you didn't think Terry was like of that elk, but you
Yeah.
learn, you live and you
But at
learn.
the same time, you keep getting you can only be that guy for so long. At some point, you got to be like, I do deserve this. I do. It's probably his last big payday.
Yep.
I get that. So that's why it sucks because I get it from both sides. I just want them to come. I want to have one Christmas. I don't want to have two.
Right. Now the next
You know what I
question
mean?
is from Tim Towner Reed. So cuts are coming, and I feel the unknown is which room will be shorted to keep a player elsewhere. So will we keep three quarterbacks or just two? Will we keep 6 wide receivers or just 5? And will we keep 3 running backs or 4 or 5? Let's get you on the book as final countdowns are less than 10 days away.
Ooh, that's pretty tough. Because I'm big on the trenches. You got to keep as many guys as
Yes.
possible. I would imagine just from what we've seen so far, the quarterback situation you would probably keep 2, and then because I mean, but I don't know that stuff because then you always have that one guy who doesn't dress. But running backs too, running backs get banged up a lot. Wide receivers, we have the situation with Terry. I'm gonna go with I guess right now you kind of got to keep 2 quarterbacks as opposed to the 3 that standard happen. I guess I don't know. It's tough. That's a really good question. I'd like to hear your guys' input on that before
I
I make a fool of myself.
I think the 3 quarterbacks is smart, and we've talked about this before from like an offensive scheme standpoint, where you want your backup quarterbacks to have the same skill set as your quarterback. And the Sam Hartman is like the one cog into that quarterback room,
Yeah.
right? Because he doesn't offer what Josh Johnson, what Mariota, and what Jaden
But he
Daniels
is hot
bring.
as hell.
He is.
So that
So like I could see them only keeping 3 in Josh Johnson, Mariota, and Daniels, and then like having practice squad with Sam Hartman. I don't think that he would be a casualty in any regard. But that being said, the injuries to the wide receiver room is what the big cog is, and not even considering the trenches because you do want the plethora of offensive line there. Injury to Brandon Coleman, right? And Josh Connerly, Andrew Wiley out there, Allegretti kind of showing you could play all 3 spots in the interior. Cosby coming back from his injury. So it's like right now on offense, it does seem like a plague. And so, especially with injuries. And so I think the running back room is probably going to be the casualty to that. And that's the unfortunate part because you probably don't want to let some of those guys go, like Jeremy McNichols and how important he was last season. So I think the running back room is what's really going to take the blunt of it. And you'd have to question it. Are they willing to have Ja'Cory Brooks get poached based on the injuries to the wide receiver room with Noah Brown and his kind of history, Debo with his history, and obviously Terry right now with his ankle? So it's a great question.
Yeah. I think that they keep, like, including practice squad, I think they keep 4 running backs, and I think Chris Rodriguez, unfortunately, might be the casualty out of that room. And they keep Jeremy McNichols on the practice squad, and Bill, obviously Austin Eckler and B. Robert, the guys on the 53-man roster. I think that they keep 2 quarterbacks, like Mariota and Jaden, obviously. And I think Sam Hartman goes to the practice squad. I don't think anyone's going to be poaching him off the practice squad. That's Jaden's boy. He's up in Ashburn just there for the vibe. So, yeah, I think that he's not going anywhere for more than
He's
likely.
literally paid to be hot at a good time. So we got to think what owners of teams are chicks, because they would totally sign him. You know
I mean,
what I mean?
they're trying to bring females to the game. So, I mean, he definitely helps with that.
Yeah. So do those male cheerleaders.
People are so mad about that.
It is
Yeah.
kinda
So,
weird, though.
what was the other wide receiver room? Like you said, I think that possibly you're gonna have to keep Ja'Cory Brooks on the 53-man roster, because I do think that he'll get poached by another team out there, maybe to like join their practice squad or their. But I guess if you pick someone in their practice squad, you got to like put them on your roster. But I do think that a wide receiver needy team, maybe like the Bills, maybe a team like the Saints or one of those teams, maybe the Browns, a team where he can maybe make the back end and maybe contribute there. So I think the running back room might be the group that takes the casualty in this.
Yeah, I think Reed could try out for our cheerleading squad. He would fit in perfectly
Do you
there.
think so? I've been
Yeah.
thinking about it.
You should.
I've been considering it. Yeah, I want to be like that dude from the Vikings, except for I'm the thick type. So
Yeah,
I'll be,
exactly.
I'll be out there.
Dude, that
going
would be
out there.
so funny.
Did you see? It is funny that, like, obviously it's not funny. Do you do whatever you got to do? If you were the best and you deserve to make that cheerleading squad, awesome. I support you. I support you, Queen. But like, he had like on a bodysuit with shorts when like all the girls were wearing skirts. It was just so funny looking. I was just like, it's sick.
That's what I was
He's
imagining.
always wearing like a jumper.
You're
a
like
romper.
Casper legs, like showing out
Dude.
as you're dancing.
Kyle, let me tell you something, brother. You would look at my legs and you would say, "Is that Nosferatu? This guy looks sickly pale right now." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember Hizzer used to say all the time that he had tree trunk legs. Like, dude, can you stop referring it that way? Like, you're not that big. All right,
Little
everybody.
branch in the middle.
Yeah.
Little twig.
So,
Folks.
so Katie gave me a massage last night. I had to
No,
say
what
that.
did you say she did?
So she
Kyle,
gave me a
what did you
facial
say?
massage. She gave me a
No, drop
facial
the massage.
massage.
You straight up said Katie gave me a facial.
Yes. And so she did all, like, she massaged my face, did all that. She massaged my shoulders and then massaged like my arms. And I told her, I was like, I have 3 of them. And then she did massage my hands. Yeah, exactly. It was funny. So it was awesome because she's getting back into the game of being an
Yeah.
esthetician.
So you get to be the test dummy. That's
Yes,
sick. That's
exactly.
tight. Yeah. So you're gonna be relaxed as hell. Yeah.
Usually this is the second time she's ever done it, and so I'm welcoming it more and more. But
Yeah.
guys,
You should ask for the Nuru. What is that? Those Nuru massages? You've seen those videos.
no, I haven't. All right, everybody. We will see you guys again on possibly Wednesday to recap everything going on. Don't know how it's going to go this week, but I'm glad to see Reed's pretty face on here.
I'm not.
To wish him luck on his tryout to the Washington Commanders command team.
Doesn't the command team? We got dudes on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
not
it
like
wouldn't
that,
even be
though.
exciting. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, I don't know. Some of them probably pretty zesty. Gotta
God.
be.
All right,
Probably.
everybody. We'll
Yeah,
see
for
you
sure.
again next week.
Dancing
Have a
in front of
fantastic one.
millions of people. You gotta be zesty as hell.
Yes. And please comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, reach out to us on IG, on X, in the comments. We'd love to be able to hear from you and answer your questions. And also, we're looking for a 4th to kind of help out around the house. We need some chores to get done, and we just need somebody else to help us out. So if you have any
We're trying to
recommendations,
hire a slave? What's going on?
Yeah.
no, you know what I'm
Actually.
doing. All right, everybody. I
mean-
appreciate. Come on, dude. Come on, man. All right,
I,
everybody.
I agree with Hall.
It's all right. I'm black. I can say it.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
So messed up. All right, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Please let us know if you want to be added into the squad. All right, I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
I don't know who I am anymore. It's actually a very real problem in my life.
And we'll see you guys again next week. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, Make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.